and it is really how to live in this world, because it does appear that the person has to be formulated and relate to people and do a job and drive a car and so forth and so on. So even you hear in non-duality people sharing the idea that you want to drive your car, you want to do things, you want to do functional things. But if I'm just awareness, am I just sitting around being awareness, which I could if I wanted to, and that was okay. But I'm also having to do that, and I think I struggle with that sometimes.
Well, you don't need to struggle with that. The body-mind is very, very well wired to take care of itself in that realm. So you don't need to think about hunger. It just happens. It just arises. You don't need to think about where the food is. The organism is already wired to recognize what it needs in food, shelter, and clothing. All that is already downloaded at the DNA level and beyond that. But let's just say at the DNA level, since we're speaking in a way phenomenologically. So you don't need to be a person to regulate your blood flow. You don't need to be a person to regulate the growth of your nails. You don't need to be a person to realize that you need to cut your hair as your hair is falling into your eyes. You don't need to be a person to recognize that, okay, I need to dress in a certain way to go to work. You don't need to be a person to realize that, oh gee, the gas tank is getting close to empty and I have to travel 20 miles and it looks that there may be 10 miles left, on the gauge. I need to stop at the next gas station. You don't need to be a person for another. You don't need a person to hear these words. You don't need to be a person to speak these words. This not being a person is in no way whatsoever in the way of consciousness. There's nothing in the way of consciousness. Being a person is an illusion, it's a dream. It's like you are living, imagining yourself to be a pink flying elephant and trying to dance like a pink flying elephant. And you know why it works? Because everybody else is dancing like being a pink flying elephant. So we're all suffering from the pink flying elephant imagined identity, and we don't recognize that is really weird. We sit around here and we go, oh my God, how could I function if I'm not a pink flying elephant? Will I be able to drive the car? Yes, you can drive the car without imagining yourself to be a pink flying elephant, you see, because you're not a pink flying elephant. You've never been a person. You're not a person. Being a person is an added structure that has been downloaded via the system, and you've said yes to that. You've said yes to that progressively. You started saying yes maybe at the age of 2, maybe 2.5, or you slowly started saying yes. First, you said, what do you mean it is my toy or it is her toy? What do you mean it's her toy? It was just a freaking car or whatever, a bucket with a shovel and some sand that you wanted to play with. But slowly, in a very piece-by-piece puzzle way, the me structure has been inherited, and slowly we said yes to that, and we believe that we are a person. Now, you act. Your action is via a thought. There is a thought that arises that says, I need to call my mother. So you, quotes unquote, the person calls your mother the other person. Okay? I'm just buying the story. I'm with you in the story. Now, that thought, did a person think that thought? If you say, yes, I, the person, thought that thought, then I will tell you, well, if you are the thinker of your thoughts, then why don't you think happy thoughts across the board? Why do you ever think, why at all do you think an unhappy thought? So if you contemplate that question, you realize that actually you don't think your thoughts. Thoughts are they're downloaded, they arise in awareness. So let's say that awareness takes the form of a thought. You don't think that thought. So there is no person that thinks a thought. Right? Thought arises, you don't think it, because if you thought it, then tell me what is the thought that you're going to think next. You don't freaking know. And I know you don't know, because I know that there is no personal thinker of thoughts. I'm just with you in the conversation. So there is no personal thinker of thought. There is no person at the thought level. So if there is no person at the thought level, what makes you say that there is a person at the acting level? Because an action is nothing else but a thought taken on form. Action is a thought, or body of thoughts, a structure of thoughts, taken on form. That's what a building is. That's what a car is. A car is a complex series of thoughts that have taken on form. At what point does an impersonal thought becomes a personal action? Just a question. I'm just with you in the conversation. Contemplate it. Try to explore listening from a place of pure presence. From a place of pure presence, your listening is actually better, because you're not thinking, oh my goodness, oh my God, what do I need to say now to impress him or her? You're not. You're just in presence. You're listening. And you're saying nothing. You're listening. And suddenly a thought arises. And you go, oh yeah, you're right. I also bought a house in the Bahamas, and I had a really great, whatever the conversation is. A thought arises to you and is spoken. Presence speaks it. They say, what is added to reality is that this thought that's being downloaded, meaning that's arising from consciousness, and that consciousness is speaking. What is added is that consciousness is in me. The belief that consciousness is personal is an added limitation, an added identification, personification of consciousness. And we do it over and over in very subtle ways throughout all our day, throughout all our conversations with ourselves and with others. In satsang, we come to presence and we live and experience and notice borderless presence that speaks, hears, scratches their knees, drinks some water, and in time, as this is revealed more and more to you, you will find yourself driving a car, stopping at a red light, going to the grocery store, saying hello and chit-chatting very innocently with the shopkeeper, in a freedom, in a space of freedom and joyful innocence. That's very happy. It's very happy and free and peaceful and functional. Functional. You're gonna actually open your wallet and pay the $1.85 for the bar of chocolate. You're gonna be paid happily. You're gonna be paying it happily, because what happens is that in the absence of the me, there is a greater experience than the me. You realize, oh gee, I'm giving this woman, this person, employment. Down, she's actually, in a way, at that moment, making her living by being there for you, and you being there for her. Isn't that beautiful? It is. It's we're all so interconnected.
What's beautiful for me is that the idea, then, I think what I'm hearing, or at least what's coming to mind, because I think that presence, consciousness, God, whatever, is that this is all being recognized and revealed, as you said, and the idea of thoughts, okay, because it's thought that's bringing, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Which is worry and anxiety.
Well, that's not thought. That's I thought. That's
yes.
a very specific thought. You have to be very specific. It's a very specific thought that says, I am a personal consciousness. Consciousness is personal. It's limited to a me. I refer to it as the I thought, and so do other teachers. It's the me thought, the I thought. There's no problem with thought. Thought is fantastic. Thoughts, creative thoughts, contemplative thoughts, all sorts of even dreamy, drowsy thought. But the I thought, the me thought, that creates a sense of me and you, me and the world. Now that's where the unhappiness arises, and now I have to really watch out. I've got to behave good, because if I don't behave good, that other, is going to tap me with a ruler on my knuckles. I better watch out. I have to do this, and I have to make sure with work. I have to make sure all relationships. I have to make sure with my house. There is a constant worry and concern, and a sense of threat in a way, or malaise about in the space.
Sure.
In a way, referring about like this something in the way, and this is that me, that I malaise, you see, and the belief that is necessary for functioning in the world, body, mind. That is a belief that just maintains the belief. It maintains the me. So I invite you to experiment, and not just to discuss it. Experiment being in a relationship across the board as presence, as consciousness. Notice. You have to do your own discovery in that. But notice that is functioning in the world, body, mind, functioning in the world is so much smoother and freer and so much more synchronistic in the absence of a me versus you, or a me versus me, because there is a me, and there's a me, and the whole self-judgment, bringing yourself down, or praising yourself, or oh, I did good, now I'm not doing the good. Oh, I did good last year, I did good last week, she liked me yesterday. Darn, why didn't she like me today? What did I say? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. And all of that storyline.
I won't have a place to live.
Yeah, yes.
Well,
What is this I?
Old stuff.
What is this I?
And I'm with you on that, because that's what I continue to go back to, presence and so forth and so on. But a lot of times, sometimes it's effortless and it's there, and other times I have to go, Okay, back to presence, you know.
You know, when you
That's
buy a
different.
pair of shoes, you know, and you wear them for the first few times, you know, they you might not find a very good comfort, but in time the leather will or whatever material is will give in, and you know. So it takes living as consciousness over and over, you know, noticing whenever you're moving away from consciousness to the me, and saying, done that, what is been there, done that, no, I'm okay, I'm not gonna buy into the worry, into me in time, into what I did, what I should have done, when will I, when, oh, my loneliness, my this, my that. I am not going to buy into the me story. For now. Oh, it's always for now. It's always at the moment. At the moment, you say, no, I'm not going to right now, I'm not going to do the me trip. No, I'm just going to simply be. Simply be. I am willing to just simply be and see what unfolds.
Yeah, and I think the energy is that energy has been very strong in my life, and so you know, I think you're reminding me of both Rupert Spira and Eckhart Tolle actually. Uh, a lot of people share this, and this idea that it's actually more difficult to do the other, to worry the things, which it is, and I've seen that to be truthful. You know, it's the idea of seeking truth.
Yeah.
That's truthful, and you know, it's so much more difficult. And it is effortless, and that's the whole thing, because a lot of times the mind wants to say, what can I do to get where I need to get? You know, I need to be enlightened,
you
or
know,
I need to still feel enlightened.
Yeah. You know, when you are in a relationship with somebody,
yeah.
and they're putting on airs, you know, they're trying really hard to just, you know, maybe show how wise they are, or you know, impress you with what they own, whatever, you know, you could, in a way, it's possible. Okay, I'm not saying for this might be true for your case. You might sense that how distasteful this is. You know, you might sense that that's that's not that's not it doesn't make you happy. You're happier when you're with a friend, and there is a freedom in your being together, and there isn't, you're not trying to sell any goods to this person, nor are they. When you are in this sort of space, you know, with somebody, it's really nice. It's like, you know, you could be silent, you could talk about anything, and you'll find there is an interest, or not. You see? So if you recognize that you enjoy, you really love just the friendly presence of a friend, because really a friend is, in a way, the word refers to just presence. I mean, the friendliness of consciousness, presence. So if you find that you enjoy that, then why would you, at work or in your relationships or wherever, why would you try to play a different game?
Because it's compulsive.
Well, you're a truth lover. You're an explorer. You're a scientist. You're in contemplation, and it's very important for you to allow the contemplation and your understanding to change your life.
And the truth now is really what you're sharing this, and we talk about in this, I hear all this, is the idea you don't have to worry about your actions and all that kind of stuff. But the truth is that truth finds itself. I guess I can say it that way. So I find myself, and I really, really see that at work or wherever it is that now this, whatever that is naturally, so to speak, moving back to that, rather than the old movement of I've got to do that. It's all out there, and now that's it, because that truth and that home and that peace and that stillness, okay, it's as if I've sort of done up. I'm starting to do this in the water or whatever, but it's much easier. It's natural and it's desired, even in a sense.
Absolutely.
It's just natural to go.
Yeah,
Back to
beautiful.
float.
Mhm.
You know, it's like this is the sure. I might want to do certain things, make certain waves for whatever, and or consciousness allows me to do that, or whatever it is. Those are words, but I don't know how to put them any other way. But probably the more important thing, or the more natural and movement inside of this body, mind now it appears to be, and maybe it's the whole, but is that is the reality. That is reality.
Yeah, and this you say this as uh, you recognize yourself as consciousness. This does not mean that you become like a sort of a dead mind person. Oh, I'm conscious. No, there is also all sorts of thoughts that are creative, that might inspire you, that might draw you to art, might draw you to creative, all sorts of creative activities, to travel, to explore, to contemplate. See, so the absence of ignorance frees the mind from boundaries. It actually it energizes the brain at a deeper level than the loops, you know, the tracks, the me tracks, the patterns, the inherited patterns. So the freedom from the patterns of the me structures, the web of beliefs, me beliefs, stories, and the release from that, releasing that, releases the energy, makes it available to you, and this energy will no longer will be defending and watching out. Instead, it will be celebrating, exploring, celebrating, rejoicing, you see, in all aspects of your life.
Even pain, even anxiety, even worry.
No,
all
no,
of it is
no,
bringing,
no, no.
All of that is
No.
bringing back.
No, pain and, well, I'm not talking about physical pain, psychological pain and worry and so on, all of that pertains to the me. Why you're going back to believing yourself as a me? Because worry is always relates to a me in time.
Well,
What worries?
not that idea. It's more that I'm worrying now, or anxiety is arising now, or worry is arising now. So awareness sees that. Okay, there's even a celebration. I've had a celebration in that being awareness. Okay, in other words, not identifying with it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
right.
everything is allowed to arise.
Right. It arises,
okay?
in a way, it arises.
Freedom. But identifying with it and attaching to it is
Sure.
different.
Absolutely.
Okay, and
Absolutely.
as you're saying,
Yeah, I mean, in a way, out of our body, our sensory realm, there are all sorts of identifications, me identifications, and they will release, as in your exploration of your reality of consciousness, these impressions, these vasanas, these identifications at the feeling level will release, anxieties, reactions, self-righteousness, and so on. But they want because you're not buying into being a separate person, then they're releasing out of the system. It's like popping bubbles. Beautiful. Let them release, because the space of consciousness is infinite, and it absorbs and dissolves everything and anything in it. So whenever a certain pattern arises, a certain contraction arises, welcome it, and allow it to dissolve in the infinite space, the space of presence.
It's happening within consciousness, I hear.
Yeah.
And
And
so it's the idea of not putting a negative look on it, you know. And,
yeah.
that's been my life. That's been
Yeah.
my life. So this is a
Yeah,
huge
yeah,
energy
absolutely.
pattern.
Sure, so absolutely. The end of energy of negative, sure. Yeah.